The racing is on for 2020. Over 6 stages, the world's best go shoulder to shoulder in pursuit of the first victory of the new pro season. First up, the women will take to the streets of Adelaide to blitz the final stage of their tour.
It's the biggest race in Australia.
We're here to enjoy ourselves, we're here to try things.
It'll be fast, it'll be furious. The Santos Tour Down Under. South Australia's coastal capital, Australia's 5th largest city. It is no stranger to holding big events, and it has one of the biggest here to kick off the UCI professional year. The weather at the moment, a beautiful 21 degrees in Adelaide. Bit of an unknown coming up though. You see a bit of grey in the sky. We're waiting to see what that might bring as this night unfolds. Hi everyone, welcome to Seven's coverage of the Santos Tour Down Under. I'm Mark Beretta, thanks for joining us. Along with me, Anna Mears, Kate Bates and Bridie O'Donnell, 3 greats of Australian women's cycling. Ladies, welcome, great to have you here. Anna, this is special. Start of a new year is always something we look forward to.
Yes, it's very exciting. This is the first event on the UCI calendar, and this was the first event in 2008 outside of Europe to be awarded the prestigious World Tour status. This year we see the Women's Tour upgraded to the Pro Series status as well, and that draws in hundreds of thousands of spectators.
And Kate, what a way to kick it off here. It's a real carnival atmosphere.
Oh, Barrett, the atmosphere here is absolutely incredible, and it's not just about the athletes. We have so many fans here, participation rides for families, so many kids on bikes, and of course the big inflatable bike behind us, the message to share the road and all about bike safety. So I think Adelaide's a delight right now, not just for the athletes but also the fans.
And Bridie, it's true, the world really is watching, aren't they? And the crowds come here in hundreds of thousands to enjoy this event.
All eyes of cycling fans have been on Adelaide this week, and we've seen hundreds of thousands of people out in the Adelaide Hills as well. So this is an enormous impact on women's cycling, and it's so great to be hosted right here in Adelaide.
Well, tonight is the 4th stage of this Santos Tour Down Under, and we've seen an amazing 3 stages of racing. When I say amazing, it's been pretty cutthroat.
It has been. We've had 3 fantastic stages of racing so far with lots of aggressive riding, and we have seen the shoulders, the ochre jersey change shoulders 3 times already.
Kate, who have you liked? Who stood out for you?
I've been exceptionally impressed by the American teams and by Ruth Winder. She's in the ochre at the moment. But Team Sunweb, from day one, the red jersey so distinctive and en masse at the front of the peloton. We have 95 riders here from 21 different nations. It's just an incredible spectacle.
It really is. And Bridie, the Australians have held their heads high.
The Australian contingent have been really dominant. They come off a great season of the Bay Criterium Seasons and the National Road Championship, so they're really motivated. Some riding in professional teams and others riding in National Road Series teams, which is brilliant for them.
Yeah, a really great spread of riders, and it has been an amazing few days. We are stage 4 tonight. To get you up to speed with what's been happening over the initial 3 stages, take a look at this. The 2020 edition of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under began with Zip Track Stage 1, racing from Hahndorf to Macclesfield. Although a day for the sprinters, Dolcini Van Eyck Sports' Marika van Witsenberg broke early to lead the field across the Subaru Queen of the Mountain. With the run to the finish, a guaranteed drag race, the sprinters took control.
Not only is she opening up the gap for the stage win, but this might be a time gap for the overall race lead. Chloe Hosking collects in Macclesfield in emphatic fashion.
The Novatec Stage 2 rolled out of Murray Bridge within view of a country icon. Out on course, Mitchelton Scott controlled the tempo in tough testing conditions. With 10 kilometres to go, it had become a race of 3. The reigning champion, too strong.
The 3-time winner of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under is stamping her authority on the race. Wind is still coming. Spratt holding on. It is Spratt who gets there.
The town of Nairn played host to Subaru Stage 3 of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. The most challenging course of the race had a bit of everything.
Is that the Cookie Monster?
That is the Cookie Monster. There's no time for feeding now.
Tactics would play a crucial role. teams sacrificing plenty to get their leaders in contention for the climb to the finish. Trek-Segafredo's Ruth Winder out-muscling the favourites.
Ruth Winder opens up the stage win for the American. With it, she will collect the leader's jersey. If she can hold on, she has.
Winder takes a 7-second lead into the final stage on the streets of Adelaide for Schwalbe Stage 4 and a solid shot at the top of the podium. So as we come to the final stage of this Santos Women's Tour Down Under, here's how our overall leaderboard looks. And Kate, it is tight at the top.
It is very tight at the top. It usually is, but Ruth Winder, she's leading 7 seconds only to Lippert and Spratt. Spratt is used to going into this final stage in the ochre jersey, so Mitchelton Scott, slightly different tactics this year. But the top 10 has 6 different nations represented. So I think that's pretty exciting, actually. The Australians certainly haven't had it all their way this year.
Ronnie, tell us about the sprinters.
So this is a very tightly contested jersey as well. The Zip Track sprint jersey is showing that Leah KIRCHMANN, the Canadian Olympian, is leading that contest, but her own teammates coming second. And Australia's Chloe Hosking, the newly crowned Australian Criterium champion, is actually very close behind in third, with Lotta Hentala from Finland from Trek-Segafredo doing really well.
And a name that's not on the sprint jersey classification, but is a very good sprinter, is the Cuban champion of Elena Sierra. I think she might be a bit of a smoky for today's sprint finish because she's got no agenda. She doesn't need to go for those intermediate sprint points, but we know she's quick.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you, who do you like tonight?
Look, I think Chloe Hosking's my favourite for tonight from Rally Cycling. She's in a new team this year. It's been a long time since they've signed a rider outside of North America, and she won this stage last year, so I think she's out to claim it again. All
right, a busy night ahead of us, some exciting racing coming up. Let's jump down now and join Matt Keane as we get set for this final stage of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. Matt?
Thanks, Mark. There's a bit of a change this year to the course. It was always close to the city of Adelaide. This year, it is effectively in the city centre. So far, we've seen plenty of action. We've seen families out for a ride. We've had our para-cyclists who have big hopes for the Tokyo Olympics. In addition to that, we've seen the police out on the course. But there'll be a few races tonight. First up, it will be the women. Then it will be the men. And then after that, because we're in the heart of the city, there'll be the final race for all the spectators to make their way into the restaurants. And Barrett's, that could potentially be the biggest battle of the evening.
Oh, Matt, hey, we can't wait. The crowds are great already. It's only building at the moment. We are in for a spectacular night. And as Matt said, this is the first time in the history of the Santos Tour Down Under that we've raced in the streets of the CBD of Adelaide. It's a special night in Adelaide. Stay there. We're back with racing right after this.
Welcome back to the Santos Tour Down Under. First up, it's the women's race. Later this evening, it's the men's race. And Adelaide and South Australia, it's showing off. It's putting on some of its very best. It's in the heart of Adelaide for the first time. The streets are ready. The peloton is just about ready for battle. Matthew Keenan with you, joined by former points race world champion Kate Bates. Kate, this is a course that you would have liked for one simple reason. It is technical.
It is technical. It will be very fast. I think the riders might carry a bit of anxiety, and from the very get-go we have a tight left-hander followed up by, let us guess, another tight left-hander, a quick right, another left. It's 1.7 kilometres for each lap, 25 times they go around. Only 42.5 kilometres. It will be over before they know it. 3 intermediate sprints in the meantime to keep them busy. A lot of animation.
And those intermediate sprints could prove crucial in the race for the final overall classification for the race victory. But the stage favourite today is the woman who won last year, Chloe Hosking. You can see her in the fluoro colours riding then for LA Cipollini. She looked as if she was boxed in and out of contention, but she burst through.
Well, you only need to win by a millimetre, and Chloe won by just enough to get over that line, and she was really pleased. She came into the tour last year with form a little bit underdone, so it took to stage 4 for her to make it, but this year she's been a bit more successful from the beginning.
And stage 1 she picked off where she left off on stage 4 last year in a Macclesfield. It was vastly different. She had breathing space and clear air at the finish line. She is clearly the favourite today because of that result.
Well, she has nothing to lose. She's sitting quite in contention overall, but not able to take that ochre if it all stays together simply on sprint bonuses. But another stage for them to bookend the Santos Women's Tour Down Under would be incredibly special. It's a new year, it's a new team for Chloe Hosking. She's definitely the one to watch.
Well, they're just about ready to start. This race will take less than an hour. Bridie O'Donnell is trackside. She's a former hour world record holder. Bridie, this is going to be quick.
The atmosphere here is electric. There are people everywhere. They're really excited to see how this race is going to pan out. I'm standing here at the neutral spare zone, actually just in front of the team of the ochre jersey winner, Ruth. This is where riders are going to have to come if they need a new wheel, if they need a new bike, if they've had a crash. Remember, they only get one lap out throughout the race. And if they crash with more than 3 laps to go and they can't rejoin the race, they are out. So there's a lot of tension here, and it's really important for riders to stay upright. Very gusty. We've had some changeable weather. We've had a bit of rain as well. We were a bit worried it could be quite slippy. But at the moment, the track is dry. People are excited, and we are very excited to see what's going to happen tonight.
Kate, the weather report is something that professional athletes, particularly cyclists, pay so much attention to, particularly in a day like this, when there has been a forecast for rain.
Well, that habit hasn't changed. I've still got 4 different weather apps on my phone as a result. You can see from the flags, it's really windy. We were worried about rain. It blew through a bit earlier. If the wind keeps up like this, I think the rain will keep blowing through. But the wind, well, it's dangerous because when you're riding through the CBD, and it's a gorgeous course, but wind tunnels get created through the buildings in a city, and I think it's something that the athletes have never faced at the Tour Down Under before, so a new element.
We're underway for Stage 4, Swarb Stage 4, the final day of racing in the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. The leader's jersey, Ruth Winder, straight to the front right at the very beginning. It's an old cliche for a good reason. Up the front, out of trouble. Up the front and out of trouble.
I've given the advice to some of the riders stay in the top 10, and one of them said to me, "You mean at the finish?" I said, "No, from the very start. You really have to be diligent." It actually goes to show your motivation all around as to where you line up at the start on a day like this. It's not big, wide open roads and sweeping corners. It's tight. If you're at the back of the bunch, it'll be an elastic band effect, on, off, until that snaps. So I would definitely be in that top 10 if it were me.
The problem with your advice, Kate, is simply this. All of the 94 riders in the peloton are getting the same advice, and there's not room for everybody inside the top 10.
Well, this is absolutely true, but not all 94 are looking for a victory either. And I think that's the difference. If you are looking for the victory, then you do need to be, let's say, front half, if I can be a bit nicer in my advice to them. The New Zealand team so far, they're a bunch of track riders heading toward Tokyo. We haven't seen a lot of them on the longer road stages because, well, they're training for 5 minutes and the long road stages have been biting them a bit. But they've come out here today. I mean, this is a criterium. This is absolutely their jam. And the fact that we have 2 of them on the front, I think it shows their intention.
We've just spotted up towards the front the polka dot jersey on the right-hand side of the screen as we look at it, around about 6th position behind the blue jersey. That's the Subaru Queen of the Mountains classification. And again, the Sunweb team, they've dominated most of the classifications, except for the big one, the overall standings. And it's the young German, Liane Lippert, who leads that classification. She's also the holder of the Uni SA white jersey for the best young rider, but she can't wear that because the Queen of the Mountains jersey takes precedence, so she's wearing that jersey today. But when it comes presentation time, assuming she holds on to the white jersey, she will take out both classifications. What is certain is she cannot lose that Subaru Queen of the Mountains competition. There's no climbs.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, isn't it? I mean, for me, I was a sprinter, so I would find a couple of these corners to be climbs if it was me. But, you know, I think that's a really good problem to have the QOM, so not be wearing the young riders jersey. It's a real credit to Sunweb. They came down here and said they were motivated from the very get-go, that they weren't just here as a training race. Quite often the Europeans come out with low expectations because they've been in winter, but not Sunweb. They really came here on a mission, and I think overall they've delivered more than any other team has to this race so far. They don't have the ochre, so that's a big statement, but the multiple jerseys and simply the animation, it's been really impressive.
1 lap down, first sprint comes at the conclusion of the 6th lap. and already up towards the front, the orange colours of the rally team. Can get a little bit confusing with the Oka leaders jersey being worn by Ruth Winder, but that gaggle of orange jerseys, they're there to protect the pre-stage favourite Chloe Hosking.
Well, one way you can tell if you can't see their numbers is that the rally team have black helmets, and Ruth Winder in the Oka jersey, she has a white helmet. So Chloe Hosking to the left of shot.
And there's Ruth right in front of her, as you say, with the white helmet on. Right on cue. Well organised, Ruth and Chloe. And the Dutch flag, orange of course, popping into the picture.
On this kind of circuit, it's the more experienced riders who will really show their colours, because simply the bunch positioning, there's a lot of anxiety that goes into riding in such a tightly packed bunch, going at such high speeds and into corners. They're literally belting into corners and hoping for the best on the other side. So the more experienced riders will have a slightly easier go tonight.
Bridie, you've made the trip back into the commentary box from being roadside down amongst the Trek-Segafredo team. Did you sense any tension, or was it confident comfortability?
There were actually about 5 or 6 staff members all standing there in the neutral area, and as they came past for the first lap, each of them brought forward a Trek bike to sort of sit there in front of neutral to almost say, here's an advertisement, of course, for the team. But they look tense. Ina Joko-Dutenberg is an experienced race director, but there's a lot at stake here for her this week, and I think it's going to be very exciting.
As a reminder of the situation, there are 3 intermediate sprints, and with each of those sprints, if you win the sprint, you get a 3-second time bonus. So that's 3 seconds taken off your time overall. If you win the stage, it's a 10-second time bonus deducted from your overall standing. At the moment, Ruth Winder has a 7-second advantage over 2 riders, and one of them, Amanda Spratt, has won this race for the past 3 years.
It's not an unbeatable lead by any stretch of the imagination. You can gain 19 seconds altogether between the 3 intermediate sprints. In those intermediate sprints, the time bonuses, 3 seconds for first, 2 seconds, and then 1 second. And overall, it is 10 seconds, 6 seconds, 4 seconds. 19 seconds is significant, but I'd have to say it would be more significant if Amanda Spratt took 19 seconds. She's not a sprinter, and we have some mixed tactics going out on course, because we've got the teams like Trek-Segafredo, of course Mitchelton Scott, and even Sunweb looking for those time bonuses, but we also have Rally with Chloe Hosking looking for intermediate sprint points plus the overall. So, I mean, we could get into the situation like we did last year with Rachel Nayland, who was fighting for 3rd position overall on the podium, where we see the sprinters kind of rubbing shoulders with the climbers. It's not often that you see that in a criterium. And
Rachel would be the first to concede that she's not a sprinter, but when there's the opportunity to move forward in the overall standings, the non-sprinters will throw their hat in the ring.
We heard her talk in an interview during the week about her performance last year at the Santos Women's Tour Down Under, where she brought some intermediate sprint time bonuses up and moved herself up GC. She's a highly motivated rider. She does have a young team in the Uni SA team to support her, but they'll be doing everything they can to move her from 11th into the top 10 of the GC.
You can see the colours of the Uni SA team. That is effectively a gaggle of riders from various domestic teams, plus Rachel Nayland, who I've just spoken about as the experienced captain of that team. They can cause the upset tonight. They have a young sprinter on their team, Ruby Roseman Gannon, and she can potentially win today's stage.
And it's a significant opportunity for these ladies in the Uni SA. Normally at this level, it's a pro series, it's the highest level of cycling for women internationally. You can only have professionally registered teams. The Santos Women's Tour Down Under offers an incredible opportunity to have a national team. It's the only race in the world which does that, so it's very special. And I think these young riders almost see this as a bit of an opportunity to be scouted.
Well, we are hearing reports from out on the course that there's a few spots of rain. How does that make them feel down amongst the mechanics who are waiting by the side of the road?
It's stressful times, and for some riders they'd get a little bit excited by this. They want some harder conditions and they want things to be made difficult. And for others, particularly someone like Ruth, she's thinking, I want to hold this jersey and I want to stay upright.
We can see on the right-hand side of the screen, that's the Sunweb team. They are moving en masse to the front. They can feel any rain that is out there, and they know it's simple mathematics. The less riders in front of you, the less the chances are that you're going to fall. So back to that old cliche, Kate, up the front, out of trouble.
Up the front, out of trouble. Rain makes me nervous. Heavy rain would make me far less nervous than light rain. And that's because you can see all of the white roads, the white lines on the roads. They're going along at 40 kilometres an hour, slippery white lines, a little bit of rain. That is trouble with a capital T.
Garmin measuring the speed at 40 kilometres per hour at the back of the peloton, 151. That was Justine Barrow, and that looked like a mechanical problem, because Justine could comfortably sit in this peloton. She was a silver medalist at the recent Australian National Road Championships, so she might be just trying to nurse her way back through down to the pit area, fix whatever that mechanical problem is. If she gets the all clear from the commissaires and it's deemed a genuine mechanical problem, one lap out and then rejoin the race.
Usually on the road stages, we've seen a big convoy of cars behind the bunch. If they have a mechanical, they have to pull back. Their car will come up and service their bikes as needed. But on this criterium, they have what is called a neutral zone, which is where you were before, Bridie. That's the only opportunity out on course to fix it. And you're not allowed to travel backwards on the course. So if you get a flat tyre 10 metres past the neutral zone, you have to complete the rest of the lap to get back there. Mechanicals on a crit circuit, that is a tough day.
You can see the bunch was there almost split in half. You had Team Sunweb on one side and Team Trek-Segafredo there on the left of your screen. Sunweb have had an amazing week. They're currently holding 4 of the 5 jerseys. They have the sprint jersey, the QOM jersey, the young rider jersey, and their winning team classification. So Trek are absolutely adamant that they want to hold on to that ochre jersey.
They're coming down towards the first of the intermediate sprints, and there's a real battle in the race for the zip track points classification. For now, at least, it's Leah KIRCHMANN who leads. She's on 110 points. Liane, her teammate, is on 106. Then Chloe HOSKING, followed by Lotte Hentala. It's tight.
I'd like to point out, as we're watching them come into the final 100 metres, they'll go through the start-finish line, and if you pay attention to how close the next corner is after they go through that start-finish line, this intermediate sprint, they're turning left, that's about 4 seconds. The intermediate sprint isn't just about getting those time bonuses or those intermediate sprint points. It's also about what might happen on the back end of that sprint. With a corner so close, they're travelling at 45 kilometres an hour. They have to hit the anchors to get through that corner, and that is a perfect time for an attack. So the teams, both Trek-Segafredo, Mitchelton Scott might take the opportunity there to be aggressive, and also Sunweb, they need to be very vigilant.
Whatever was the problem for 151, Justine Barrow, looks as if she's rectified it. She hasn't gone down for a mechanical support. She might have just taken a little while to get her own personal engine going.
Well, we know she had a fall on stage 2, and so she can't be feeling too terrific. She showed on Instagram some bruising on her lower back, and she would be wanting to survive this stage and support Peter Mullens.
She's tough, she's strong, she's also a physio, she knows how to look after herself. But there's some downside to that as a doctor, Bridie, when you know what the damage is that you've done.
Well, you wouldn't recommend to a person with a day job that they push on in the face of injury, but at this week, she's a professional cyclist and her job is to ride in support of Mullens. Mullens had a great finish yesterday. We know she's a fantastic crit rider, and she has nothing to lose today either. So there's a lot of riders that could win this stage.
Trek-Segafredo are lining up on the left. It's Sunweb on the right in the red colours. Ruth Winder is sitting in 4th wheel. Ruth doesn't need to take these time bonuses. What she needs to ensure is that other riders, LIPPERT in particular and Spratt, don't take them on top of her. So her Trek-Segafredo team are protecting those seconds as much as chasing after them.
Liane LIPPERT is towards the front. Amanda Spratt is sitting just a little bit further back. They'll come through this time. They'll get the whistle or the bell to indicate 1 lap to go before the first of the intermediate sprints. It's a team time trial drag race. Sunweb in the red on the right, the blue and white Trek-Segafredo on the left, but the Mitchelton Scott team with the black and yellow just sticking their nose into the business.
Amanda Spratt is an exceptionally good criterium rider, so she can really get herself up and in the mix and could be danger on the other side.
On their way for the first battle for points for the zip track points classification, but also the time bonuses in the race for the ochre jersey.
I love the short path that Trek-Segafredo are taking. The front there is Taylor Wiles, an American rider. Her wife has represented Ireland in the Olympics. They're an incredible cycling family and live in the US, and she loves this sort of circuit.
This is LeBeau's now coming to the front for Sunweb. They look determined to get the time bonus for the woman who is sitting behind the blue jersey. Surely they're holding out some hope of LIPPERT in the polka dot jersey to get the time bonus.
Well, you have to try. You don't go down without fighting, and the best chance that Sunweb have to take that ochre jersey and win every classification is to get these intermediate sprint points.
They're charging up the inside, out positioning Trek-Segafredo at this point. One more tight left-hander to come before they hit the finish line. They've got the little zigzag, and then at 500 metres to go, they turn left and they see the finish line.
At this point, it is a battle of the lead-out trains. Trek-Segafredo take the inside line on the course, but Sunweb, they are charging up the left-hand side with LIPPERT tucked in safely. Chloe Hosking was tucked in on the Sunweb train, which shows where she believes the confidence should lie in the lead-out.
Trixie Warwick now taking the lead for Trek-Segafredo, but she is cornering a little wider than the Sunweb rider. They've got about 400 metres from that corner now to the start-finish line.
They'll check across the shoulder from Hintala. She's looking for the whereabouts of Ruth Winder. They make the left-hand turn and they can see the finish arch. Sunweb in red, they start to open up. They're looking for LIPPERT, who wears the polka dot jersey. She looks to be out of it. It's now Leah KIRCHMANN in blue. LIPPERT finds her legs once again. KIRCHMANN is doing the lead outs, and now Ruth Winder needs to get amongst it. This could set them alight. The polka dot jersey is sprinting for points. Hosking is challenging. It is LIPPERT who gets the 3-second time bonus. The gap now in the general classification goes from 7 seconds to 4 seconds. This race is alive.
There's a gap that's opened up straight after that. This is where the Sunweb riders have to be very diligent. And a strong lead out from Sunweb, and that was Leah KIRCHMANN on the front. We know she's one of the foremost sprinters here. But Liane LIPPERT in the QOM jersey, sitting second overall. The acceleration could not be matched. KIRCHMANN in second, Chloe Hosking in third. And the ochre jersey, she was not able to take any points on that one. No time bonuses for her. And the overall lead, well, it's come back to 4 seconds. The race is on.
The woman who wears the polka dot jersey, she's got ambitions to take the ochre jersey. Plenty of action still to come in Adelaide. Stage 4 for the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. This is the final stage, and the race, it's been hot from the very beginning on the opening stage. It's even hotter on the fourth and final stage. According to Garmin, the average speed so far has been 4.
Mum loves having me home all holidays. I expect she's really sad school starts soon, but she's hiding it well. Or she's just happy she can get all my back-to-school stuff online from Cartridge World. Things like texts, exercise books, pens and pencils, and pretty much everything. While she's picking up her own office supplies like printers and ink. Maybe that's why she keeps singing back to school soon. Cartridge World, more than cartridges.
Every day, BHP provides the iron ore and coal the world needs to make steel. Steel to help build the schools, hospitals, bridges and transport needed to serve the nearly 200,000 people across the globe moving to cities every single day. And when we help the world's cities grow, we're helping Australia grow too. Think big.
45 kilometres per hour. And at the opening intermediate sprints, Liane LIPPERT, who started the day in second place overall, she got the maximum 3-second time bonus. She's now within 4 seconds of overall race honours. There's 2 more intermediate sprints to come, each of them offering 3-second time bonus for the win, and it's a 10-second time bonus to win the race overall. Ruth Winder is the current race leader. Bridie O'Donnell, that intermediate sprint surely makes her entire team, and Ruth herself just a little nervous.
They are nervous, and that she has great teammates in Taylor Wiles, Trixie Warwick and Lotta Hintala. But you can see this is like a points race. They're going to have to sprint every 6 laps, which is every sort of 9 to 12 minutes, depending on the pace. It's going to be fast and furious, and she's got 2 more intermediates and then the stage.
46.2 kilometres per hour, the average speed.
I like playing race director sometimes from the commentary box. I think that Trek-Segafredo need to consider throwing somebody in a break and getting one of their riders off the front, simply to neutralise the Sunweb factor in those intermediate sprints where they do have time bonuses. It's a lot easier to say that than actually do it. But there are some attacks going. There is a bit of aggression, and if Trek can match that and possibly just open up the slightest of leads, it could really play to their cards.
This is the French national champion, Jade Field, now towards the fronts. It's been fantastic for the race this year in the elevation within the UCI classification to get to this level, and the quality of the peloton that we've seen this year is the best in the 5 editions of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. For a rider like Ruth Winder to win this race, wearing the Stars and Stripes as the American champion on foreign soil, what would it mean to her?
Oh, it'd be an enormous victory for her. She claimed that winning the national title in the United States last year was her career highlight. She's done a lot of great stuff in her short time as a young rider. But to win a Pro Series event internationally, in a foreign country, for her is a huge deal. And it also starts off their whole season in a way with great confidence, and it puts her name on a list with a lot of UCI points that are very valuable, particularly in an Olympic year.
Peloton still together, 9 laps down of the 25. The average speed has been incredibly high. In fact, average as a word probably doesn't do it justice.
It's far above average, that's for sure.
Incredibly quick. Peloton fanned out across the road. The wind is taking a little bit of an impact as they go past the buildings. It buffers them ever so slightly. The Sunweb team have got themselves towards the front. Going through the corner when you're 5-6 wide, what's the most nervous place to be?
Definitely, I think, on the outside, because if somebody on the inside has a stack, then they will very likely take you out and slide out. I think most importantly, when you're going into these tight corners, you want it to be on your terms. You don't want the wheel in front of you or beside you to be anywhere but what you are comfortable with. The best way to do that is absolutely undoubtedly being at the front, and the further back you are, the more danger you're in, simply from a touch of wheels or a slight movement that you can't anticipate.
Righty, this is Amanda Spratt that we see on the left-hand side of the screen in the colours of the Australian national champion with the yellow across her shoulders, moving herself towards the front for the first time.
Now, I don't think Mitchelton Scott anticipated that both those two teams were going to contest that first intermediate sprint so tightly, but I wonder now if they have changed their plan. These are the current rankings now in the Ochre jersey, and we've seen a change. Amanda has moved, stayed at the same, and Liane has moved even closer now to the Ochre jersey, so an incredible result for her in the first intermediate sprint.
In second position, Liane Lippert, she's just 22 years of age. The young German, she spoke last night at the team's presentation with real confidence, and pretty early on in her career she's worked out that she belongs at the sharp end of the peloton.
Well, she told me that she was just happy to be here and happy for everything that came, that they came in motivated, they came in fit, but that to a degree it had been a little bit of a surprise just how dominant they'd been in some of the competitions. I think that mindset is a really valuable asset to her because, to a degree she's got no expectations. Amanda Spratt is someone she's looked up to for many years and hoped that she could emulate a similar career. Well, now she's up on her in the overall leading. She's got absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah, I feel like she's the one with the least amount of pressure.
I think so too. That would be really fair. I mean, Ruth Winder is the American national champion, which, she's not shy from winning bike races at all. Liane Lippert, she has won the German championships before, but she's only 22 years of age. And nobody expects a 22-year-old to win a Pro Series tour. I mean, that is a really big achievement if she can do that. To even get so close, I think this is a name we'll see a lot of in the future.
The white jersey that you see leading them around the corner, that is Juliette Lebos. She's wearing that jersey on loan. That's the UniSA Best Young Rider classification jersey. It's her teammate, Liane Lippert, who's actually the leader of that competition.
And if we take a look at the rider's nicks, you can see it from the side-on shot sometimes, but just take a look when we get some up close. There's gels poking out the bottom of their shorts, and that's because the girls need to eat when they're out racing. I mean, it's 42 kilometres and over an hour, and they need to eat, but they don't want to take their hands off the bars enough to reach into their back pocket, so the leg is closer access. They'll put it in their mouth and literally use their teeth to rip it open and eat. That's how efficient it is, and that's how on-the-edge criterium racing is.
Friday, it looks as if it's getting a little windier out on course. For some, that is risk. For others, that is opportunity.
When I walked the course earlier, you could see how gusty it would get, and these form little wind tunnels, and that's great if you're somewhere in the middle at the front, you're protected on all sides by other riders, and you've got the skills to hold that position. It's hard work at the front, and then it's dangerous at the back where gaps can form, so riders have to pay attention.
And those flags, they tell the story.
It's difficult because they're constantly changing direction, and so they're not able to use the wind to their advantage too much, because the moment they move into a place that would be effective in the wind, well, they change direction and it's all over. And so the wind then plays a much bigger role than it would if they were on a long straight road and could adapt to that.
The top three teams are now emerged at the front, and they're racing this as if it is a shoulder-to-shoulder team time trial.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it? It looks as though it's sort of the battle of the teams, each one in a long line. Mitchelton are now joined, so 3 teams battling it out now with approaching 1 to go before the second intermediate sprint.
But this will be really important, and Ruth Winder on this occasion will be desperate to at least prevent her main rival now, Liane Lippert, of getting any closer to that overall race lead. Lubos, it is on the front, leading the charge for Sunweb, and this time Amanda Spratt looks as if she's going to get involved.
Mitchelton Scott have got the full team up the front. They've got Grace Brown, Lucy Kennedy, Gracie Elvin. They really have some horsepower. Amanda Spratt just needs to hold a wheel, and most importantly, she needs to watch out for Winder and for Lippert.
The above average speed, 51.4 kilometres per hour for lap 11.
Incredible pace. You can see, though, the train of Mitchelton got absolutely ruined on that last corner. They lost a lot of ground because it was a turn that they had the wider path of.
Look at the body language of Taylor Wiles from Trek-Segafredo. Even from the front of the back of the bunch you can see, but she's the Trek rider on the left in the middle, elbows out. Everything is going into this lead out for Winder. Winder is tucked in a few wheels back, though. Lippert arguably in a better position, but Winder just needs to watch her, follow her, and if she takes points, try and pop around the outside.
And that is precisely what she is trying to do. Sunweb in red still on the fronts. For the Mitchelton Scott team, Gracie Elvin is looking to do the lead out for Amanda Spratt. KIRCHMANN it is in the blue colours, and she is the pilot to drop off her now team leader, the young German, Liane Lippert. The battle is on for the final corner.
Mitchelton Scott on the left, Jessica Allen leading out, Taylor Wiles for Trek-Segafredo. They go into that final corner. Lippert and Winder, Spratt, they're all a bit far back and out of point contention for now, but they're coming into the final couple of 100 metres now. This is a good scenario for Trek. If Taylor Wiles can take those sprint points and neutralise the factor away from Liane Lippert, but it's Mitchelton Scott on the right of the road that are picking up the pace.
Jessica Allen, she got the perfect run into the slipstream. It's now Gracie Elvin trying to do the job for Amanda Spratt. Amanda Spratt on the right. She sits in second position, and we can see the Oka leaders jersey. This time, it could be Ruth Winder getting a little bit of time back. Hentala is leading out. She'll hit the brakes if she has to, but she can't. Hentala followed by Spratt, and then it is Ruth Winder. So now we have a new scenario. In the general classification, number 35, the American national champion, she leads by 5 seconds.
It's a to and fro. It's a bit of a dance that they're carrying on out there.
It is Winder at the top of the classification. She leads by 5 seconds ahead of Liane Lippert, who is the rider in the white with the blue dots. And then Amanda Spratt, the Australian champion, is now 6 seconds behind.
And grimaces on their face for the effort too.
Take us through the sprints.
Gracie Elvin from Mitchelton Scott and Jessica Allen led them in. Taylor Wiles opened up the sprint. Lotta Hentala almost giving Amanda Spratt the perfect lead out. but it was Winder who came in for third, so just a 1 second advantage for Spratt there. Good job by Hentala and Trek-Segafredo to take those 3 seconds off, which neutralises any gains that Amanda Spratt could have gained.
After the sprints, breakaway attempts, can Ruth Winder hold on to the Oka leaders jersey? Schwab stage 4 for the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. This is the final stage of what has been a thrilling...
Do you have sensitive teeth? Try Sensodyne Gentle Whitening Toothpaste from Chemist Warehouse. It provides lasting relief from sensitive teeth and helps restore natural whiteness. Sensodyne 160-gram value pack is 2 for $18. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Mum loves having me home all holidays. I expect she's really sad school starts soon, but she's hiding it well. Or she's just happy she can get all my back-to-school stuff online from Cartridge World. Things like texts, exercise books, pens and pencils, and pretty much everything. While she's picking up her own office supplies like printers and ink. Maybe that's why she keeps singing back to school soon. Cartridge World, more than cartridges.
Fifth edition of the race, and it is not over yet. The leader is Ruth Winder, the American national champion, and she's holding on to just a 5-second buffer over the rising German star, Liane Lippert. In third position, at just 6 seconds behind, is the 3-time winner, Amanda Spratt.
The race for the Oka jersey was tight at the beginning of the day. It's tighter now, but there is a race within a race. Some breakaways are trying to form. The absolute best time to go on an attack on a course like this is after the intermediate sprint, and that's what's happened. Lauren Stevens on the front for Team TIBCO. She was 4th here last year. In fact, she got ousted off the overall podium by Rachel Nayland on that final stage. She knows how crucial criteriums can be. She knows if she can keep the pace up high, maybe this breakaway won't survive. She's getting frustrated. You can see her throw her arm around. That's a, come on guys, work with me. But she's a pretty high calibre rider, and a lot of the riders would say, no thank you.
It will take cohesion in that leading group for it to stand a chance of surviving.
And you've got a rider there from B Pink, the tall rider here on the right of the screen, Simona Frapporti. She's a very strong track rider, rides in the points race and the Madison for Italy, but she's not going to work harder than anyone else in this group.
And it was Ashley Buchanan also in that group, so it's a bit of the tracky group, but they know each other and they know each other's riding style. Generally a criterium suits a track rider very well, so these are riders we haven't seen a lot of on those long hard road stages, but this is where they really come into their own.
The one team that we've spoken about a lot today that would be really happy with this situation is the team of the race leader, Ruth Winder, Trek-Segafredo. This will take away those time bonuses.
They would really love this to survive at least to the middle of for the next intermediate sprint and just take away those top 3 points. To be honest, I think that's going to happen because this is the blob of the bunch I was referencing earlier when they're just all spread out. A lot of them aren't even pedalling, which for them is a great chance to get recovery, but you can tell the difference in pace between this breakaway. Lauren Stevens, again, forcing that pace. We know she wants it to work. Ashley Buchanan is an excellently chosen breakaway partner, and you do need that. You need a great group of riders prepared to work together if it is going to survive.
Mitchelton Scott, they've put one rider into the breakaway in the black and yellow colours. That's the Kiwi, Georgia Williams. Jessica Pratt is in this group for the Canyon SRAM team, having stepped up to this team on the back of winning the Zwift Academy role, racing indoors and winning and getting a spot on a World Tour team.
I also spied Tatiana Gudurzo, 2009 World Champion, sitting in that bunch there. She also was a medalist 2 years ago at World Championships and got a bronze behind Amanda Spratt. She is a very savvy rider and would be one to watch. Here she is on the front of the break here for the LA team.
As the former world champion drives the breakaway, the team that should be leading the chasing is Sunweb.
It's a bunch of 10 this breakaway. There's no representatives from Sunweb in there. There's no one from Trek-Segafredo, but there is someone from Mitchelton Scott, so they can afford to let it go a bit, look around, say, hey, we're only in third. This is not our job to chase. It's a good group. It's a strong group with some great riders. I mean, we've got Olympians, world champions in there. It doesn't really get better than that. But 10, that is a big bunch. That is a big group to go. If you consider how many teams are in the race, which is only 15, well, you know, who's left to chase?
I saw Jamie Gunning in that group as well. Great to see her from Specialised and her teammate Matilda Reynolds, who's been sprinting well all week. But Gunning, we know, won the Shimano Supercrit at St Kilda just 15, 18 months ago. She's a fast finisher and someone that no one will be targeting.
14 seconds is their advantage. Also amongst the breakaway is the woman that nearly stole the show on stage one, Brodie Chapman. New team for her this year. She's in the blue and white colours in 4th position for FDJ. And she said after that stage, well, I'm not much of a sprinter, so why sit around for 100 kilometres and just hand it to them on a platter? I'll go on the attack.
And she loves the corners, so it's perfect. I mean, there's a lot of elements that go into making a good criterium rider, and being a sprinter, it's only one. I mean, at the finish, if they come in belting in at 60 kilometres an hour, that comes to the fore a lot more. But at this point in a breakaway, your confidence and your comfort through corners means as much as having those fast twitch fibre muscles.
In the orange colours near the back of the group from the rally team, that is Leanne Ganza. She was in the break yesterday, caught with 1 kilometre to go. She wears the red number as the most aggressive from yesterday. 14 seconds is the gap, but we get the official check as they come through with 9 laps remaining. Mitchelton Scott controlling the chase behind. 14 seconds.
So we have a few riders in the break that will neutralise it a bit. So Leanne Ganza from Rally, I can't imagine she'll ride. Her chances of winning from this breakaway are lower than Chloe Hosking's chances of winning if it all comes back together. Lucy Kennedy is on the front of the bunch for Mitchelton Scott. They're averaging over 50 kilometres an hour. That is average, and when that is in and out of the corners, in those straights, they'll be heading up toward the 60 kilometre mark.
Well, thankfully it's a closed road, and the South Australian Police that were out here on their bikes earlier don't have their radars nor their tickets with them, because this is above the speed limit. It's worth noting, Bridie O'Donnell, that the Mitchelton Scott team, they do have one rider in the breakaway, but they are doing the chasing. They still believe in Spratt.
They absolutely do, and they know that this is helpful because it will make Sunweb or Trek do the chasing. They're under no obligation, but they don't believe that their rider Sophie can make up enough ground. This break will not stay away with enough of a gap that she could benefit. So here you have now Lucy, one of our super climbers, doing all the work, and the entire Trek-Segafredo team on her wheel.
The Astana team are also up the front. They've got the agenda of having one of the best sprinters in the race, Elena Sierra, the Cuban champion. She is primed and ready to go. I think that's what she said to Dave McKenzie at the team presentation last night, although admittedly it was in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. But I imagine she said, I'm feeling good and tomorrow is my day, because that is what the Astana team are riding for.
They've had good success in Australia in the past, the Astana squad. They've been close a few times with Sierra throughout this race. Their confidence is clearly building. The back of the peloton, that's reality TV. That's where you see just how hard it is.
Carnage, I think that would be the word for it. The break at this point isn't that significant, the 11 seconds, nor is the amount of work that Trek-Segafredo have to do chasing it back, because we are within the final 10 kilometres of the race. That is something that they can manage.
This time through, they'll get the bell for the final intermediate sprint. And life is tough at the back of the peloton. The bell bell sounds for the final intermediate sprint. There's a 3-second time bonus up for grabs. Jessica Allen now coming to the front of the peloton for Mitchelton Scott. They want to give Spratt a chance.
There are 11 riders away. They have a 9-second advantage, and we've spoken about the people represented in this group. There are great track riders and very strong sprinters, and they'll be absolutely hoping to stay away for some intermediate points. But then there's also that hope in their minds, could I hang on for just 7 more laps after that and win the race overall?
I quite honestly think that if Chloe Hosking wanted to bridge that gap in a couple of laps, she could do it solo. I mean, that would not be wise at this point in the race. It possibly wouldn't be wise at the end because she'd have someone on her wheel that would pop past her at the end. But 9 seconds is not significant when you do have the Mitchelton Scott team chasing. We discussed that maybe Mitchelton Scott would sit back and say it's not our responsibility, but they know that if Amanda Spratt can win the stage and the others are to finish in third or further back, she could still take the ochre jersey. You don't get to the end of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under and not try everything and not throw everything at it. It's very positive racing from the Mitchelton Scott team. This breakaway is working really well together. Tatiana Gidurzo, she's been world champion before. She knows how to win a bike race. This is just about conservation for them. Lauren Stevens, well, she's after a few points. Always the hungry rider. Lauren?
And she's also looking for a small time bonus. That could move her up potentially into the top 5 in the general classification. She currently finds herself sitting in 7th position. That's number 61 who we're speaking of. They're starting to look at each other. This is becoming a tactical sprint for the bonuses. It's Buchanan in the black colours for New Zealand. Jamie Gunning just behind her. She's thrown her hat into the ring. So too is Jessica Pratt. It's Gunning who's coming over the top. Does Buchanan have the legs to hold on? The Kiwi stretches one more time, but it's Gunning who gets the nod.
Now we know Gunning is in the list of the young rider classification. She wore that jersey yesterday, even though she was on loan from Liane LIPPERT. But Gunning will be hoping to move up in the young rider classification. She's a great talented climber, but certainly that's now put a split in that group. And we can see now the peloton are going to close in on the second half of what was a breakaway.
Now Trek-Segafredo at the front, the teammates of the overall race leader Ruth Winder, they will be delighted with the result of that intermediate sprint.
It takes a lot of pressure off, undoubtedly. Now, in order for them to take the overall, it needs to happen in the final sprint. Jamie Gunning, Rushley Buchanan in the black for New Zealand opened up on the right, but Jamie Gunning from Specialised Women's Racing crossed the line in first with Lauren Stevens taking the 2 points and the 2 seconds.
The breakaway group of 11 down to the final stages of the Swarble Stage 4 stage to close out the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. Swarb Stage 4 of the Santos Women's Tour Down Under. It's coming down to the final sprint finish. Stage honours are...
Mum loves having me home all holidays. I expect she's really sad school starts soon, but she's hiding it well. Or she's just happy she can get all my back-to-school stuff online from Cartridge World. Things like texts, exercise books, pens and pencils, and pretty much everything. While she's picking up her own office supplies like printers and ink. Maybe that's why she keeps singing back to school soon. Cartridge World, more than cartridges.
Something big is here.
My time is coming around and I got big plans.
Australia's entirely new streaming channel. The best from US college sports, streaming live and free on 7+. Pac-12, streaming all the time on 7+.
Up for grabs, but so too is the ochre jersey. It's the American national champion, Ruth Winder, who still holds on to the lead. She has a 5-second buffer over the German rising star, Liane Lippert. It's then Amanda Spratt in third position at 6 seconds behind. You win the stage, you get a 10-second time bonus, so it can all change. Kate Bates, you know what it's like to be out there amongst it as a former Australian road champion. Put yourself in the shoes and onto the bike of Ruth Winder, the American national champion. What does she do from here to defend her lead?
The biggest consideration for Ruth Winder is to stay safe. The final couple of kilometres of our criterium race are absolutely hectic. Not only are they looking at the ochre jersey, but the sprinters are going to come out. And when Chloe Hosking gets her train ready, when Elena Sierra is going 65, 70 kilometres an hour, well, Ruth Winder needs to hang on, stay out of trouble, and just make sure that nothing happens in that final lap.
Right, in this breakaway group, they've kept their cohesion after the intermediate sprint, which sometimes can be disruptive. And they're starting to build their margin again.
You can see Fraporti at the front in the pink colours of B-Pink. She is motivated. She wants this group to stay away. She's flicking her elbow there, trying to get some other riders to come through. And you can see on her wheel then Brodie Chapman in third and the Uni SA rider in fourth, with Sophie Edwards from Mitchelton monitoring there in fifth.
And in the zip track points classification, racing for the blue jersey, it's still Leah KIRCHMANN who leads. She's on 136 points, but her teammate Liane Lippert is also on 136 points. However, Chloe Hosking is just 10 points behind, and if she wins the stage tonight, that's 50 points, and there's 30 points for second. The breakaway, they're starting to attack each other.
Rushlee Buchanan, the three-time Olympian. She's a world medalist and Olympic medalist on the track. She's definitely got the form and the acceleration in this length event, and she is on the charge. She's opened up a significant lead here. Georgia Williams, the Mitchelton Scott rider, also a fellow Kiwi. She is not going to take the responsibility to work because, frankly, it's not her job. She pulls over to the side and she says to the other riders, if you want to bring that back, good for you, but it's not my job. This absolutely plays into the hands of Rushlee Buchanan. She's won many a criterium before. She's fine-tuned her criterium racing in the US. And just her speed from the track, this is a really good move. This is a very dangerous move.
Perfectly timed attack by her, and what it's going to do is see this impact it's having is these riders are realising I could waste an opportunity to win a stage and I could get caught by the peloton.
Georgia Whitehouse coming to the front in the UniSA colours. She's trying to reignite the chasing group. Behind the Kiwi, Buchanan, the peloton, they're spread out all across the peloton. GPS tracker telling us that the gap is 20 seconds. The average speed of 51.4 is out to the sole leader of Buchanan. Looking for Ruth Winder. The ochre jersey, there she is on the white bike, number 35, and she's following number 31. That's crucial, that's Hintala.
She has to stay safe, so for her, she would have said to her teammates, you need to shepherd me. She's not a natural criterium rider, so for her, it is a bit anxious if she's just choosing any wheel. She trusts her teammates explicitly, which means that if she's on one of those wheels, she can just relax and know that they'll get her through the corner on a good line. Similarly, you can see on the right of screen, the Sunweb team in the red, and Liane Lippert in the QOM jersey, so that has blue dots on it as Queen of the Mountain. She's tucked in behind her teammates, are looking for the same thing. But Rushlee Buchanan, she is looking smooth, she's looking in control. She's a very good road time trial rider as well. That really plays into her advantage to be one out. The gap is up to nearly 30 seconds, and on this kind of course, Matt, she'll go around corners, they won't be able to see her.
Importantly, Lauren Stevens, the American from TIBCO Silicon Valley Bank, is in the breakaway, admittedly in the second group. She started the day in 7th place overall. Bridie, just 34 seconds behind. Trek-Segafredo, they need to do some chasing.
They definitely need to chase, and whether or not we know if they know that information is really what's critical. This has been brilliant attack by Rushlee. She's so opportunist. She looks fantastic on the bike, really strong and controlled. And what's going to that what we're going to see now is got 3 and a little bit laps. You know, it's only about 5 kilometres to go. So Trek absolutely need to put the hammer down and bring this back.
In athletics terms, it's somewhere between an 800-metre run and a 1,500-metre run. It's fast, but not quite a sprint. It's endurance, but it's not a marathon.
I asked her at the team presentation, I said, Rush, you guys, you're focusing on about the 5-minute mark and being good. What do you do in a road stage? She said, you ride 5 minutes, and then you ride another 5 minutes, and then you back up for another 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. This plays really into her hands because no matter how much she's hurting right now, she knows that she has 5 minutes in her, and she knows that she can push it off. The Trek-Segafredo team, they're not really chasing. I mean, it's the Astana team, if anything, that are starting to force the pace. They do need to keep that gap under control because of Lauren Stevens. If she were to win or take second or third with sprint bonuses, well, she could take the overall. Chloe Hosking just sitting safely in. Ruth Winder taking the inside line in the safety of her Trek-Segafredo team. But Chloe Hosking, well, she'll be hoping that someone will do the chasing so that she has an opportunity to open up in the sprint and take this win.
Chloe Hosking is the rider in the orange colours of the rally team. She wears number 81 and she knows exactly what is required to win. Buchanan is still off the front, holding on to a 30-second advantage. Here comes the chase. Frapporti in pink, followed by the former world champion Gigante. It's then Lauren Stevens who has a lot to gain from this breakaway.
13 seconds is the claimed advantage now between Buchanan, this race leader from New Zealand, and her chase companions, and then another 17 or so seconds from this group that you're seeing now back to the peloton. And in the peloton is where all the jersey wearers are riding.
Kate, they've got some passages in this group. There's a rider from Astana who's in the group, Ivanak. Also in the group is Williams from Mitchelton Scott, and they're not contributing to this breakaway because
Leanne Ganza is also in there, Matt, and she won't ramp it up either. She'll be sitting and waiting for Chloe Hosking. But the chase has started in earnest from Sunweb. The red team, the Germans, they are on the march. And it is LIPPERT sitting in second wheel. Chloe Hosking tucked not in far in behind, but Rushley Buchanan, she is looking good. She's sucking in the big air there because she knows she'll come around with 2 laps left to run. Can she hold on?
30 seconds, she's a chance. Aerodynamics are everything.
Well, also, this is an incredible atmosphere. She's at a Pro Series race, you know, in Australia, preparing for in an Olympic year to ride well on the track, and this will be boosting her confidence, and it's only 3.4 kilometres to go now for her.
The chase continues. It's still just a handful of seconds for Rushley Buchanan. Then back to the peloton. Trek-Segafredo, they have to make sure that second group, the main portion of the breakaway group, don't take more than 30 seconds.
It was Sunweb a few moments ago chasing. Trek-Segafredo have taken up the opportunity there, but this bunch, this second group is really starting to chase in earnest and try and bring Rushley Buchanan back. We thought that Leanne Ganzen from Rally, she wouldn't chase. We thought she'd be sitting there as a passenger and waiting for Chloe Hosking. But in fact, she's flicking elbows. She wants the riders to come through and help her. She's saying to Georgia Whitehouse from UniSA, contribute here. But it's Jamie Gunning, Specialised Women's Racing, who's on the march. I also thought she might wait for Matilda Reynolds, but they are after the stage when they see an opportunity and she's trying to jump across.
Gunning has been given the green lights. Charging through the corners, chasing Rushley Buchanan. They're inside the final 2.5 kilometres.
Now, this is incredibly exciting. We saw Gunning absolutely fanging it to win the Shimano Supercrit. She's got Brodie Chapman on her wheel now. Both these young Aussies would be really motivated to have the win of their career at a race like this in front of an incredible crowd in Adelaide.
Theory set that the breakaway wouldn't survive, that it would come down to a bunch sprint finish, but the break is in with a huge chance.
I don't think Rushley Buchanan will survive. That gap is really being brought right back. She's looking over her shoulder. That's a bad sign. When you look over your shoulder, it means that you're kind of running out of energy, but a very valiant effort. Brodie Chapman, the Aussie, on the front. She's a Queenslander. She came from downhill mountain bike racing. She loves the corners. She's not a sprinter, but she can certainly corner better than most of the athletes in this field. That gap, well, you know, it's coming down, but it's still about 50 metres, and that can mean a lot when you're coming in with less than 2 kilometres left to run, and they're all exhausted. They're travelling at speeds upward of 50 kilometres per hour on average.
Brodie Chapman still doing the chasing. Rushley Buchanan, she takes a look over the shoulder. The peloton, they're at 20 seconds behind. Buchanan is about to be caught by her breakaway companions. Will they be caught by the peloton? There's the Oceania, the race leader. It's Ruth Winder. Can she defend her overall race lead? For her, this breakaway is good.
If she can just stay safe and stay out of trouble, she can take this over a win, but they are not out of danger yet. Every single corner is an opportunity for something untoward to happen. We hope not, but they need to stay safe. That is going to be the focus of Trek-Segafredo. In the front bunch, well, they're looking for the win.
1,700 metres, 13 seconds. Is it enough?
Wow, I don't know if it is enough. I think this group are starting to look at each other, but 13 seconds to bridge when you've got those trains, it's still only a little over a kilometre. They're not travelling fast enough.
It's cat and mouse. Why aren't they looking over their shoulder and seeing that marching Sunweb train coming toward them? This is the chance now if the breakaway wants to survive. They cannot hesitate at all. Canyon SRAM, Tiffany Cromwell chasing hard. Chloe Hosking, she looks pretty relaxed sitting there in second wheel. This could just be the perfect timing. Inside the last kilometre and a half, Georgia Williams from Mitchelton Scott, she is not leaving anything to chance. She's been given the green light to ride now, and she is charging and trying to maintain the advantage of this breakaway group.
Williams on the front of the breakaway. Chloe Hosking with a shake of the head in the orange. She can't chase. She needs teammates to do that, but she has one in the break.
She's got a great teammate in the break, Jamie Gunning, the young rider from Australia who's absolutely motivated to win this stage. But don't forget, there are some internationals in this group. We've seen Tatiana Godurzo, Fraporti, incredible performances by these riders.
Largely a bunch of okay sprinters, but not renowned sprinters. It is hard to know in these conditions who will jump out of the field, but certainly some young Australians who have the opportunity.
The sprint is on. It is RAGUSA from Astana. Fraporti in the pink. The Italian, it's Fraporti. She will celebrate. Pink is best. She keeps it upright. She can celebrate with all of her skin on.
Incredible performance.
And now it's Chloe Hosking, a frustrating sprint across the line for 13.
And Ruth Winder
takes the general classification. She defended. She started with a slender lead. It was only 7 seconds, but in the end, it proved to be enough.
Animated celebrations from the Italians. Just a brilliant ride. We weren't sure if that breakaway could survive. It barely did. But Fraporti, well, she's a great track rider. She has a good turn of speed. She won almost reasonably easily in that sprint at the end, and the Italians will go home with just rewards.
She was on the wheel here of Williams. She was waiting. She saw the sprint open up on both sides. Then she came out of the slipstream, and from that moment on, she was never really challenged. Stevens in second position. It was then Buchanan after that long breakaway who still had enough to hold on for third place. So the break, it did defy the odds. Simona Fraporti for B Pink getting the stage honours. And that nervous moment as she went across the finish line. And then further back was Chloe Hosking leading the peloton home. Fraporti comfortably. Stevens it was in second position. Buchanan in third place. And you can see the change in the expression on her face from celebration to oh no to celebration. Georgia Whitehouse and the Uni SA colours at the back of that group, and the big smile appears across the face of Simona Fraporti. Fraporti wins the stage. It's Ruth Winder who goes out as the overall race winner. Still a lot to come from the Santos Tour Down Under.
Every day, BHP provides the iron ore and coal the world needs to make steel. Steel to help build the schools, hospitals, bridges and transport needed to serve the nearly 200,000 people across the globe moving to cities every single day. And when we help the world's cities grow, we're helping Australia grow too. Think big.
The future's ours, and it begins now.
Your action and sci-fi fix are on 7+.
I'm here.
Power up for a world of adventure.
Take a look. Come with me if you want to live.
You've been waiting for this.
A very, very long time.
Discover something new. Streaming for free on 7+.
The City of Adelaide, it is a magnificent host for the Santos Tour Down Under, and the women's tour has concluded, fourth stage completed, and we have our overall winner and our stage winner. Let's go down to Bridie O'Donnell.
Stage, first win of the season. How are you feeling?
It's unbelievable. I live in Italy with the idea to have fun in this race because it's just the start of the season, and I know the Australian rider, they are in a good shape, but I try to stay in front, I try to do my chance and the victory ride.
Did you think that the break would stay away? We saw you were frustrated trying to get people to ride hard.
My Italian friend!
I hope there's no penalty back to that. But sometimes the break won't stay away in a race like this. How were you getting that group to stay and working together?
I had one chance I have to use, and so I tried to do my best, and we arrived.
You come from a very strong family of bike riders.
Yeah.
Your brother is a bike rider.
Yeah, I have two brothers, both of they are riders, and they are professional riders, and so we are a cyclist family. And I'm sure they enjoy the victory like me.
I'm sure. And now it's Tokyo Olympics this year. Are you looking forward to being in the track endurance team for Italy?
Yeah, this is my dream, but we never know.
Okay.
I work for that.
Complimenti. Brava.
Thank you.
Ruth, my goodness, it's special to win any bike race, but what does it mean to win the Santos Women's Tour Down Under?
I need a second, really. That race was pretty crazy, I feel like. I used to do a lot of crit racing when I was young in the US, but it's, still chewing some gummies here. But it's been a bit of a while since I've really done a really hard one like that, and Sunweb and Mitchelton are really, really strong teams, but we were able to pull it off, and I'm really excited. Yesterday, after winning the stage, it was such a special feeling, and I'm really excited to celebrate with my team after this. Yeah.
Well, how important has the team been in it? Because it looked like they put absolutely everything on the line for you today, and a little bit hairy with those intermediate sprints.
Yeah, those sprints. Every bike race you need a really strong team. This is not a single-person sport. It's a shame I can't bring them all onto the podium with me. There is a team classification competition, but we didn't win that one, but there will be a team that gets to go up with that team. But no, everybody that watches bike racing and knows bike racing knows it's really, really a team sport, so I couldn't do it without them.
Well, Ruth, thank you so much. You've absolutely dazzled and entertained us this week. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it really has delivered the Women's Santos Tour Down Under. An incredible race this year, and congratulations to the American Ruth Winder, who has taken the ochre jersey for the overall win. Leanne Lippert in second place overall. Amanda Spratt, who has had an incredible run here over the years, finishing in third place this year. And Chloe Hosking, for a lot of Australian fans, finish up in fifth place there. A great tour, a great ride by her. 4 big stages, and that is our result. And there you see the shots of Adelaide. The city is aflood with crowds here tonight. They've come in for the women's race and the men's race, which is still to get underway, and a man who has put a lot of work into this event is Corey Wingard, who is the South Australian Minister for Police, Emergency Services, Corrections, Sport and Rec. Corey, I didn't miss anything, did I?
No, you pretty much got me covered there, mate.
Hey, congratulations. What a fantastic event. You must look at a night like this. We've got so many families, so many people in the city just enjoying this tremendous atmosphere and just say, hey, we've got it right here.
Yeah, look, it always brings Adelaide to life, there's no doubt about that. And look, having sat in your seat for many years and watched this event grow, working with the great Phil Liggett, and he would attest that when you come to Adelaide, it just gets better and better every year. The families come out, people come out to support the race. It's a little bit cooler tonight, which they're probably like. We've had a number of hot days leading up to now, but to see so many smiling faces on the streets is outstanding.
And Phil, you see events all around the world, but I know in your heart this event holds a special place.
It certainly holds a special place. I must tell you that this is the best organised event in the world, bar none. It started out that way in 1999. It's difficult to build on a successful event, but this is built every year to become a marvellous function. And you followed it in your sporting days, Corey, as well.
Yeah, look, it's great. The people that come out to support it, but the people that come out and ride with it as well. We've just got such a beautiful state, and there's so many great places to see. I mentioned we have had it tough. We've had a couple of fires burning up in the Adelaide Hills and on Kangaroo Island, but we're open for business, and these wineries will welcome you in, and we love having tourists come around. And when you come here to be a part of this race, if you bring your bike as well, you can get up and see these beautiful regions, go for a ride through the hills, and really enjoy yourself. And there's so many wonderful things to see. Kangaroo Island, of course, they've been doing it tough, but Seal Bay just opened again the other day. People are flooding back there, so it's great news, and it's a great way to support our tourism industry.
And Corey, that's probably the most important message, isn't it? These regions, they need people to come back. They need people to go up there for lunch, to watch the race, to stay, have dinner, spend a night, whatever. And Phil, you were up there the other day. It is such a beautiful region.
It is.
It's sad what's happened up there, but we've got to get back and support them.
Look, the world is a vicious place these days, and the fires have been terrible, but South Australia has coped really well. Yes, we've lost 83 homes in the Adelaide Hills this time around. One person has lost his life. What about the animals? But they will come back, and this race is helping them re-identify themselves, and I really think that the state, as always, comes out on top.
Yeah, and Corey, that's the thing, is that this event is so important for tourism, isn't it, in South Australia, because people come for this event, but they stay and they take their time to go around the state and see more. The number of bikes coming through the airport, the number of people coming in for this race now, not only from regional areas, not only from interstate, but around the world, is amazing.
Yeah. Look, we are a very resilient community, no doubt about that, and to have the women's race backed up with the men's race, it just stretches the carnival out. So when you come here, there's so much to see and do, so much to get out and enjoy, so we really welcome people to our great state. And if you get on the bike and you ride up through the Adelaide Hills, you'll get a great feed, you'll get a great meal, you'll get great hospitality. They will look after you, I can guarantee you that.
Well, and Phil knows that because he's out every morning up and down on the bike. But it's an amazing place to ride, Phil, isn't it?
Oh, I just have a wonderful time. Look, there's the champion of the United States. That, by the way, is the winner of the women's race. She's now put on her national jersey over the ochre jersey as the race winner, Ruth Winder. She's a very happy lady here in South Australia. This was a big surprise and was really very special for her, so she's pretty happy about the way this race has gone today.
And probably one of the biggest testaments to the success of this event is how much the riders enjoy coming here.
Yeah, that's a really great point too, and that's one of the good things. You come across to South Australia, you're on the roads with the riders, you can often stop at a coffee shop, bump into them, have a chat, and they're so welcoming too. So it is one of the real keys to making this a success. We're in the heart of the city here, and you're rubbing shoulders with all these great athletes just about every day.
Yeah, and it's unique, isn't it, Phil, anywhere in the world? I mean, the fact that everything is so central.
Absolutely. It's a star race, means we go place to place in the same hotel every day. That's helpful.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Corey, thanks for having us all. Fantastic event.
Always great to have you, Brett. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bigger and better next year. We can't wait. All right, we've got plenty more action ahead. Don't forget the men's race is still coming up. Back with more very shortly.
Tight on the inside. Oh, bit of crack on the turbo now. Your first jump to switch. Go too soon, you will fade.
One rider, he's taking the chance.
Can he hold it on here? Right on the line. Opportunist champion. This is a big day.